Hi everyone. Welcome to Fantasy Premier League. So this is a very good website where you kind of like get heavily involved in the English Premier League game. And this is like how a video on how I would create a team in FPL. So this is mainly beginner friendly. I'm also going to try to explain a few rules along the way, but although all the rules are available in the website. But this is a quick tip on things to keep in mind when you create a team. So there are a couple of ways to create a team. If you can see the screen here, so I have already selected some players and I'm just kind of like resetting it so that it's easier for you to see. But in general, you can either do one of the two things. So first is you can build your team around your favorite player. Like for example, if you like Bukayo Saka, for example, so you can build your team around Bukayo Saka and you can place him first. And if you want to pick other Arsenal players or other Man City players, for example, you can build your team around them as well. So that is one way of looking at it. So second way, the which I would prefer doing is looking at the ownership. So the default view that you see here is the total points here, if you see here. But this is kind of like the total points the player has scored last season. So you do have examples where a player has performed really well last season, but they have transferred into a team, another team in the next season. Like for example, if you see Danny Welbeck here, so he is one of the top performing forwards, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 most best forward in FPL last season. But it turns out that a lot of things, statistics need to be kept in mind. Like, for example, there are some players like Ekitike, who's a good example. I mean, he's injured now, but last season he could have been injured for some time, and he didn't get to play a lot of games. So that is one metric which can bias you towards picking players that are not really good, but they are higher up in the list. The second thing is a player might have played for a different club in the previous season. Like, for example, Danny Welbeck played for Brighton last season. So yeah, that can. So in Chelsea, I don't expect him to see him have regular playing time. So I wouldn't go by total points when you look at starting off the team. But like for example, let's say that I want to pick goalkeepers first. So goalkeepers are kind of like relatively easy to pick. You also want to see the price points here. So what I would do is go to team selected by. So this kind of like is the best indicator, at least in game week 1, to start off your season. So when you see team selected by, you'll see that Raya has been selected by 34% of the team and so on. And at the same time, I'd also want to optimize with the price points, etc. So the another thing that you can take a look is I will go into the details as I select defenders, etc. So there's obviously DEFCON and everything that is into play here. So DEFCON is basically defensive contribution, but I'm going to explain that when I explain the defenders. So when it comes to goalkeepers, I usually don't like putting a lot of money invested in the goalkeepers. So I just want someone who's cheap and who plays for a good team. So the first person that comes to mind is Kinski, right? So even though David Raya has a lot of clean sheets, look at the difference in price. So there's a 1.5 million difference. So I would like to pick Kinski here. And also, if you look at the fixtures, Kinski has decent fixtures in the first 5 game weeks. So I always look, especially because the transfers roll like every until 5 game weeks. So usually after this point, it is like kind of like a soft reset because you'll accumulate 5 transfers. So I would like to just think of short-term fixtures. I wouldn't go more than 5 game weeks because there are also chips in play like wildcard, free hit, bench boost, and etc. So I think Kinski is a no-brainer because he's first choice in Tottenham, so I'm going to pick him. And the second goalkeeper, like a spoiler alert is already here, it's Verbruggen. So the reason I would like to pick Verbruggen is because if you see the ownership, these are the two most popular 4.5 goalkeepers here. I know what you must be thinking. You might be thinking that why don't I go for a 4 million goalkeeper, for example? So this is also a good strategy to pick two Tottenham players. Like for example, if Kinski gets injured, Dubraga plays. But at the same time, if people notice that Dubravka has not been playing a lot, they might transfer him out, and so his price can drop completely. So I would go with someone like who is a playing goalkeeper, usually for a backup also, just in case that Kinski has a difficult fixture and you want to rotate him out. So that's the reason why I want to go with Verbruggen. So if you look at the information here, you can also see the past stats. So in the last season, Verbruggen has played for Brighton as well. He has played all the games, like he's played all 38 games, and he has 10 clean sheets. So this should be good enough reference. So for if you want to compare him with the topmost goalkeeper like David Raya, so David Raya has had 19 clean sheets. So half as many clean sheets is not that bad. And when you look at the total points here, so it's kind of like, yeah, it depends on their trade-off here. So like if you are okay with just saving 32 points here and trying to invest in heavy hitters in the midfield, so you can go with Verbruggen. But if, however, if you feel that Raya has more potential to keep more clean sheets, then you can pick David Raya. Uh, so I would pick Verbruggen here. So when it comes to the defenders, I would always like someone who is kind of like a fullback and plays for top teams. So one example is Ricardo Calafiori. So if I go to defenders, for example, now, if you see, even if you see the team selected by, you'll notice that Califury is definitely up there. So Gabriel is 8 million right now. So see, the people have selected him, but I feel that he's too expensive. And also, I'm not, and I think he is going to definitely start the first game week, and he's definitely has a lot of upside. But I have a feeling that I want to save more because you will see why later. So this is the reason why I want to go with Ricardo Calafiori. Again, I'm sorting it based on the team selected by, so this it's easier to scroll for new players. So the second person that I'm going to go with is like I was talking about defensive contributions earlier. So if I see, you can see this ICT index also. This is just basically like how much of a influence, creativity, and threat. So this is something new. So like I mean, this has been there for some seasons, but like influences how much like impact he has on the pitch. Creativity is like how creative is he with the crosses, and threat is like with headers or something. So you can even like if you see Virgil van Dijk, he has very good threat, I feel, because from set pieces especially. So he's right up there. And O'Reilly, since he plays in an advanced position, he has the best threat. But if you see, both of these are very expensive defenders. So that is just one way of filtering out your like if you want to target this thing. So there's also DEFCON. So I'm just curious if they have DEFCON here. Yes, this is DEFCON. So DEFCON, if you see, Marcos Senesi is definitely up there. He played for what to say? He played for Bournemouth last season, and I mean, like he has been tremendously good, which justifies his price point. And now he plays for a better team. So usually, like it doesn't matter how big the team is because there are always going to be potentially like a lot of like counterattacks that happen where defcons are showcased even by top teams. And also defcons have a cap. Like for example, if Senesi has 20 defcons and like say Van Dijk has only 10 defcons, both of them are going to get 2 points because the cutoff for DEFCON is 10 and it maxes out at 10. So like it's not necessarily that the more DEFCONs the better, but you would like your defender to get the 10 DEFCON whenever possible. And also you look at the fullbacks because fullbacks have the tendency to go forward. If they are very attacking fullbacks like Nico Raleigh, there's always a chance that they will score more than the DEFCON defenders. So getting that balance is important, and I feel Calafiori, especially because of the fact that he has scored in the Community Shield in the first minute. So that is a clear example of how much of a threat he is going forward, right? So the second person that I want to pick here is like if I go back to, let's say, team selected by. So, like if you see, Issa Diop is one popular defender at 4 million. He's guaranteed to start, and he's from the newly promoted side Ipswich. But however, I want to pick a different player from Ipswich, and his name is Davies. So, Leif Davies is someone who is a fullback, and he's at 4 million. and I feel he has scored 2 goals in one of the preseason games. So that's the reason I want to select him. And besides, because Diop is heavily owned, if suppose Diop gets injured or if he's fallen out of favor with another centre back, which I don't think will happen, there's a easier tendency for him to go down in price than Leif Davies, who's only 5% owned. So for that reason, I would pick Davis. So let me go with one of the DEFCON guys, but this is some data I already got previously because this guy has not played in uh, like a lot of like he's not played last season. He's a new signing. So sometimes that is also something that you have to keep in mind because new signings are always there in teams. So you have to see if they played in a different league before. What is their stats? That is something you cannot see in FPL. So you would have to go outside FPL and get that data. So one example of that is Muharemovic. So I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but this guy is selected by 2.6% of the team. And I feel that between him and Rodon, it's like a coin toss on what I want to go for. But the reason I want to pick this guy is because I feel that he has greater DEFCON potential. Rodon does offer DEFCON and sometimes he plays in the back three. And so he has a tendency to go forward as well. So it's basically your choice as to who you want to go with. I also feel that Leeds is going to improve in defense because they have James Trafford now from Man City, second goalkeeper who kind of like got signed for in Leeds. And I kind of personally feel that they will be stronger defensively this season. And also, if you see the fixtures, right, they're not too bad. And it's not like they have like fixture swings. They've been consistently up there. So it's worth investing so much in Muharemovic. So if you see here, Luke Shaw is someone that I always want to pick. And I'm sure that Luke Shaw was selected by a lot of players. So if I go back to team selected by, I think I would need to go back to the first page here. And I will see Luke Shaw way up here. So Luke Shaw is another player, and again, like if you want to get a player with a higher upside, Harry Maguire is someone that you can get. So this is the second Manchester United player. By the way, if you don't want to search by defenders or something, you can also search by teams here. So that is just one something to do. And if you feel that there's someone you want to add in your radar, you can always add that person as in the watch list. So for that reason, I'm going to select Luke Shaw because he plays for a good team. You see the first two fixtures here, Hull and Ipswich. I think people usually triple up on Manchester United because of this. But I don't want to risk heavily, but it's still 4.5 is very good value. This guy is, his name is Trey Hume. So I'm going to go to Sunderland to show you how it's like when you first filter by team. And I'm going to pick him. You see, he's 6.1% owned. He's the favorite defender in Sunderland. Obviously, Mukiele had a lot of points last season. That's why his price went up to 5.5 for the start of the season. But I feel that he's in because he has a knock. And also, he's kind of expensive for a Sunderland defender. Trey Hume is someone who is kind of nailed until they sign a winger. But right now he is playing in the front. Sometimes he plays as a winger. No, if Sunderland doesn't sign a winger and if all of the Sunderland defenders are fit, there's a good chance that Trey Hume will play in the attacking positions. Like usually you kind of like look for that upside, and there is always a goal scoring potential and assist potential there for points. And also Sunderland's fixtures are not that bad either. Okay, so now moving to the midfield. So let me pick midfielders now. So Bruno Fernandes is kind of like somewhat of a sure shot player. So if you see the points that he scored compared to, so I was debating between these two players, and there's a 4 million price difference. The good thing is both of them played for the same team last season, so it's a very good reference point. So let me quickly switch to total points here. So if you see, I don't see Mbuemo in the top until here. So it's quite likely that there is a great upside in selecting a more expensive player, and also he's nailed. He'll play 90 minutes every game. I believe Mbuemo didn't play last season, but by triple up in United, people are selecting Bruno Fernandes plus Mbuemo. So Mbuemo is someone who is always like an added bonus, but I would say it depends on your strategy if you want to pay so much for Bruno Fernandes, but I think he's worth the money. and I feel that he's going to be the asset I'm going to select from Manchester United for to target the first two fixtures especially. So once I feel like it is settled down and I feel that the World Cup players start coming back into full fitness, I can always downgrade him to Cole Palmer or Bukayo Saka, depending on if I want to upgrade my midfield or defense elsewhere. So Bruno Fernandes, for that reason, is in my team. One more thing you can probably select is check is the one of my favorite metrics is points per game, points per match. If you go to points per match, you will see like how many points per game he's expected to score. 6.7 is pretty high. So it's kind of like even if you compare him to like I will go to him in the forward section, but if you compare him to the rest of the midfielders, he's miles ahead, even though he plays all the matches. So I would select Bruno Fernandes for sure. And then, like, if you see the midfielders I've selected, one of my favorite players in the game is Phil Foden. So I'm going to pick him because I feel that he's kind of underpriced this season. He has a lot of potential. He's guaranteed to start. For a City midfielder, I feel he's worth it. The only problem is in the Community Shield, he did have sparks of brilliance and he could have scored maybe or assisted, but like I think Arsenal completely outclassed him. So I'm going to go and also pick a person called Solis from Arsenal. Seeing, I was very impressed seeing him play. And he's a winger and he'll probably play front three, at least in the start of the season. Like I said before, he might not be nailed long term, but I feel that if he's going to start the first few games, that's good enough for me. I know Arsenal don't have the best fixtures, but they're the best team in the Premier League. And then they're currently Premier League champions. So I would want to at least take Solis for first game week and see. He might be the one of the first names I take out of the team, depending on how my rest of my team plays. But I want to chase the upside about taking Solis in the first game week itself. Similarly, let's go to Liverpool. So if you notice, I like to diversify the team and pick players from different teams. So if you've noticed that from the top teams, I have not picked a Chelsea player, nor have I picked the Liverpool player. But let's start with the Liverpool player first. So I would say Florian Wirtz is someone I would go for here. So I know he's not great last season, but he's playing in a very advanced role and almost as a second striker. And like I think Soboslai is the more popular one. If you see, like if I just go to Liverpool, for example, here, and I go to let's say team selected by percentage, and I just remove the WI. And if I go to midfielders, you see Soboslai is way more popular than Florian Wirtz. I know he's it's a saving on point 0.5, and there's a chance that Soboslai is on penalties, and he does have, and he's also on free kicks. So you might save something by taking a better player with a point 0.5 saving, and he's kind of more nailed than Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz gets subbed off after every 75 to 80 minutes. But I would like to go for the upside because I can always downgrade him for Soboslai later. But it's very hard to upgrade Soboslai to Florian Wirtz if I need words in the team later on. So for that, I'm just keeping that extra zero point 0.5 invested in Florian Wirtz, so I can easily downgrade with just one transfer rather than having two transfers. So finally, I want to go with a Brighton player called Pascal Gross. I can actually do this as well. So now that I'm tweaking my team, this is something that I can do as well. I can take Illumin and Die, who is 6 million, and I can go with Saboslai, who is 7 million. So that is one tweak that you're interested in doing. However, I also feel that if you're investing in, if you have a formation, right, it's impossible to have five midfielders and three forwards play in a formation. You have to bench one of them. And for some reason, I don't mind benching Pascal Gross because, for some reason, but I feel that I want to maximize the price in my playing 11. And I feel like Illumin is someone that you would want to play every game, even though he's just 0.5 million more than Pascal Gross. But I think I feel better if I can bench Pascal Gross and just spend the extra zero point 0.5 in Florian Wirtz. So if I go to Brighton now, I can go to Pascal Gross. But let's look at the top midfielders. Like I know I've already picked my midfield, but I just out of curiosity, I'm going to show you who are the players that I usually pick. So if you go to, I think it's better if I search midfielders. You see this? Bruno, then Soboslai, Embuemo, Semenyo, etc. Rogers. So I mean, like, it's kind of like geared towards. So Rogers is an interesting pick because he's a new signing, and but it's also important to look at the preseason numbers. And I don't think he has started too many games in Chelsea. I think he's only played one game, and he started, and maybe he scored in that game too. But yes, he is a good buy for the long term, but and he's not someone that I want to start the season with. And he's 7.5. I feel Words is a better pick at 7.5. And I will show you which Chelsea player I'm going to take going forward. But yeah, Pascal Gross is definitely up there. The other player I was mentioning earlier was Ndai, who is also up there. Looks like Solis has got some traction because earlier I have always picked him from the preseason, but then I think his two assists in Community Shield has kind of like biased a lot of players towards picking Solis. So he's definitely a good person to target, and I can see why the ownership has shot up to 16.2%. Also, it helps that he's just 6.5 and he's like 1 million cheaper than Declan Rice, who plays a little deeper. So that is very interesting. So let's go to the forwards now. I think by now, if you've noticed, there's this 29 million in the bank, and that's only because I want to spend half of it on a player called Erling Haaland. So if you see this, even though he is twice as expensive as the second highest owned player, he is owned by like 70%. And especially towards the beginning of the season, you don't want to be like kind of like chasing the pack, right? Because you have a lot of active managers in the start of the season, and if anyone is above 60% owned, right, I feel that he's someone that you have to pick in the team, just because like you don't want to be lagging behind in the start of the season. But if you want to take a gamble, sure, you can go for it. But I feel that Haaland and Joao Pedro is someone that I'm going to pick blindly for this reason. Um, One more interesting pick is Igor Thiago. So he was great last season, but I think he is slightly priced a little higher. One more guy I would keep an eye on is Kevin Schade. Kevin Schade plays for the same team, Brentford. So if you want to cover Igor Thiago and if you feel Brentford will score goals, you can always invest in a 6 million midfielder called Kevin Schade. So you can play Schade and Szoboszlai, or you can play Schade instead of Foden and upgrade Shaw to Maguire. So there are a lot of ways you can fine tune your team. So for the best 6 million midfielder, I have gone for the most popular one again. It's Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So I feel, like I said, Leeds has a consistently decent fixtures. So I feel that he's going to be in the team for a long time. So like if you see Igor Thiago though, there are some difficult fixtures, like in the first fixture itself is slightly difficult. But yeah, he might be a good upside, but I feel that Bournemouth and Chelsea are not going to be easy games as well. So, but Leeds and Sunderland are definitely ones to target for. So I'm going to keep an eye on this. And maybe I can probably swap out Foden for someone like Kevin Schade if I really wanted to invest in the Brentford line. Okay, so I will go for Lewin, and this. Oh, it's funny how I said Calvert Lewin, but yeah, this could be my team name, but yeah, this is my team for Fantasy Premier League. Okay, currently we have looked at the team structure. It's a 15-member team, but in the end, what we eventually care about is maximizing the points in your 11. So once you select this, you click on make transfers, and then you will have a pick team section. So if you see you have some chips, there is some viability on playing bench boost in game week 1. So if you've noticed, all of the members in my team have good first week fixtures, but also people in my bench are playing players. So there is also a chance that I might trigger the bench boost one because you have the same set of chips in the first half and second half of the season. Usually bench boost, triple captain are played when there are double game weeks, but usually in the first half of the season you don't have double game weeks. So I think what I would do is I would play bench boost whenever you feel is the best opportunity to play. Some people want to get more information before playing the bench boost. But for example, I think this is a good time for me to use it in game week 1 because the earlier I use it, then I can probably downgrade Kinski and play a non-playing goalkeeper. I can take some 4 million goalkeeper from one of the newly promoted sites, for example. Because if you see, like obviously you want to maximize the playing 11's points because you're not going to get any points from any of your bench players, regardless of how well they do. But they give you options in future game weeks. Like for example, Pascal Gross will probably not play the first game week because he's playing Villa, but there is still you can even swap him out for Calvert Lewin if you feel Nottingham Forest is a little difficult in the first game week. You can always switch out Pascal Gross for this one. So basically, it's just very simple. So out of the 15 players you pick, you purposely select some players who are going to always be on your bench or who have viability in upside and are very cheap. Like for example, Leaf Davis is 4 million is the cheapest you can ever go for any player in FPL, right? So and this guy plays also in Ipswich, so that's why he's someone that it's always good to have a playing player and at the lowest prices possible. That will give you the most upside in having options. Like for example, if someone like Califiori is injured or suspended for just one match, you can just play Hume or Davies for one game and then bring Califiori back instead of wasting a transfer on a Califiori. So this is fine. I would put Calvert-Lewin back though, because I feel he's more owned than Pascal Gross. So I am going to stick to this formation, and then you basically confirm your team. So my team was always confirmed from the start. And first thing is the captaincy. So I feel that Bruno Fernandes will be my captain, and I have seen Haaland play in Community Shield, so I know that he's fit at least, but I don't think he's like he's definitely the highest owned player. So that is definitely worth captaining him as well. But maybe I'll make this decision in the end. But for now, I'll just give the vice captain's armband to Erling Haaland, and I will skip my team.